When the world is loud, return to yourself some days. You wake up with a strange heaviness. Your mind feels foggy. Your chest tightens with an unspoken anxiety. You don't know why you're exhausted, only that the world feels too loud, too fast, and you're drifting in the middle of things beyond your control. If you've ever felt that way, this video is for you. Through the lens of Stoicism, a life philosophy over 2,000 years old, we'll explore 9 powerful insights to help you face challenges with calm, reduce anxiety, and build an unshakable inner strength. Stay until the end, because sometimes all it takes is one well-timed thought to open a whole new path in your mind. And your journey to inner freedom begins right now. When the mind becomes the silent enemy, have you ever felt like the world is full of noise, but the loudest noise is coming from inside your own mind? Everything might seem fine. A normal morning, a quiet conversation, a peaceful moment in a familiar cafe. Then suddenly, a careless comment, a passing glance, a random post, and your mind catches fire. What did they mean by that? Did I do something wrong? What if it gets worse? This isn't reason speaking. It's the enemy dressed as a friend, an untrained mind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Stoicism doesn't teach you to avoid hardship. It teaches you how to look it in the eye, how to stay still while the chaos stirs, and most of all, how to step out of the fog of anxiety and see clearly again. Imagine you're at a party. Someone criticizes you publicly. Your heart pounds. Your hands tremble. You want to react, to strike back and defend your ego. But stop. That moment is a fork in the road for the self-aware. You could explode, or you could exhale, meet their eyes, smile, and refuse to let your mind be led. That's inner power. That's real freedom. Because you can't control others, but you can always control how you feel and how you respond. And when you do that, you're no longer a victim of emotion, but the one who leads your mind forward. Anger, the fire that burns the one who holds it. There's one emotion that often feels like power, but in truth, it's a silent destroyer. Anger. It comes fast, like lightning. It makes you feel like you're winning, like you're taking justice into your own hands. But afterward, brokenness, fatigue, and often regret. Picture this. You're driving through traffic. Someone suddenly cuts in front of you. You feel insulted, disrespected. Your grip tightens on the wheel. Your voice sharpens. Your heart races. Blood surges. But stop. Is that moment worth losing your peace over? Seneca once wrote, "Anger, like fire, doesn't care what's right or wrong. It only wants to burn." Stoicism doesn't teach you to suppress your emotions. It teaches you to face them, understand them, and choose not to be ruled by them. Anger doesn't solve the problem. It blinds you. It makes you act from impulse. And the cost? Your own inner calm. Change the frame. When someone insults you, it says more about them than it does about you. If you let anger control you, you've handed over the keys to your mind. But if you choose silence, if you pause, breathe deeply, and ask, will this reaction make things better? You're practicing one of the highest Stoic virtues, steadiness in the storm. Because calmness isn't the absence of emotion, it's the ability to shape it. And with practice, anger won't be a fire consuming you, just a passing smoke, leaving behind only a lesson worth keeping. Calm is not weakness. It's the peak of strength. We're taught to be tough, to respond quickly, to speak up, or risk being overlooked. We're caught in a world where silence is seen as weakness and patience as a loss. But is it? Think again. In an argument, who really holds the power? The one who yells the loudest, or the one who stays anchored and refuses to be dragged? Stoicism teaches us this. Calmness isn't surrender. It's silent victory. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The one who remains calm in chaos is the one who has mastered himself, and in doing so, mastered the world." Imagine you're in a meeting. Someone publicly rejects your idea with condescension. You have two choices: snap back, argue, defend your pride, or take a breath, remain still, and respond with clarity, untouched by emotion. Your calm, in that moment, becomes louder than their attack. They expect you to lose control. Instead, you stay in command. And that quiet control, it unsettles more than any angry comeback ever could. Calmness is a hidden force. It doesn't brag. It doesn't try to prove itself. It simply shows up when it matters, like an anchor holding steady in a storm. When you choose calm, you don't just protect your dignity. You send a silent, powerful message. I am strong enough to not need to prove anything. Remember, real power isn't out there. It's in your ability to stay centered when everything else spins. No one can hurt you unless you allow it. There's a paradox in life. People don't hurt us through their actions, but through how we interpret those actions. An offhand comment can haunt us for days. A cold glance can keep us awake at night, not because it was cruel, but because we allowed it to pierce and take root inside us. Epictetus once wrote, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgment about those things." Imagine this. You've poured your heart into a project, but instead of encouragement, someone says coldly, "I don't see anything special here." Instantly, anger or hurt rises up. You feel disrespected, undervalued, but pause, just for a second. Does that comment have any real power? Unless you give it power, their words are just sounds. Your reaction is the wound. The person who offends you doesn't truly hurt you. It's you who accepts it, repeats it, plays it over in your head, and lets it corrode your self-worth. Inner freedom begins the moment you reclaim ownership of your mind. A Stoic is not emotionless. They still hear, see, and feel, but they don't let those things define who they are. You don't need validation to know your value. You don't need to react to prove your strength. You only need one thing: control over your inner world. Remember this the next time someone makes you feel sad, angry, or disappointed. I can hold on to this, or I can let it go. And when you let go, you don't become weaker. You choose peace. You protect yourself from the most dangerous enemy of all, an untrained mind. Life isn't too cruel. The mind just isn't strong enough yet. Have you ever asked, why do some people collapse from hardship while others stay standing? It's not because they're luckier. It's not because they have fewer problems. It's because they've trained their minds. Imagine walking a rocky, muddy path. For someone untrained, every step brings pain, fear, complaint. But a person who has trained like a warrior doesn't ask, "Why is this road so hard?" They say, "This is how I learned to walk difficult paths." Life doesn't choose an easy route for anyone. You choose how to face it. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How many times have you worried about something that hasn't happened? How many times have you scared yourself with worst-case scenarios? How many times have you stalled out of fear before even taking the first step? Reality is light, but your mind makes it heavy. Someone once shared, "I was so afraid of losing my job. I couldn't sleep. Every night my heart pounding. And then one day, I actually lost the job. And it turned out it wasn't nearly as terrible as I imagined. The real suffering came before, not after." That's the brutal truth. It's not the world that paralyzes you. It's an untrained mind, not yet ready to handle pressure. So how do you train it? Not by running, but by facing it. Little by little. When you feel the urge to lash out, pause for 3 seconds. When your heart feels tangled, focus on your breath. When you feel helpless, ask, what part of this do I actually control? That's the moment you stop living reactively and start building inner strength, right there, in your everyday moments. An untrained mind is a prison. A trained mind is a fortress. And you are the only one who gets to decide which it becomes. The present is the only place you have power. There's a simple truth that most people resist. The past is over. The future hasn't arrived. So why does our mind live in two places that don't even exist? Think back to the last time you couldn't sleep. No one was shouting at you. No one was harming you. But your thoughts, they were tormenting you. You worried, what if tomorrow is worse? You regretted, if only I had done things differently. But you forgot one thing, you're still breathing. Right now, you have this moment, a quiet space to return to yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Do not act as if you were going to live forever. What you own is the present moment." Anxiety is a high-interest loan borrowed from the future. Regret is a debt paid in tears to the past. And if you keep living that way, you'll lose the only thing that allows you to change anything, the present. A fighter once said, "Before every match, I don't think about winning or losing. I just focus on the next punch, the right one, at the right time." That's the power of now. You can't win the whole battle by worrying about the end. But if you focus on doing the right thing now, the result will come on its own. So how do you return to the present when your mind keeps spinning? Try these 3 things. Your breath. When your mind spins out, anchor yourself in your breath. One deep inhale is one step away from chaos. Feel your body. Place your hand over your heart. Feel every beat. A reminder, I'm still alive. Do something small. Fold a shirt. Wash your hands. Take a sip of water. And do it with full attention. When you give your all to the smallest act, you begin to build the greatest strength. You don't need to master the whole world. Just master one moment, then the next. And moment by moment, you will build the foundation of a resilient inner life. The present isn't loud. It isn't rushed. It only asks for your full presence. And in that still presence, anxiety fades, worry dissolves, and you return to the one who is truly in control. Expectation, the invisible chain that binds the soul. There's a strange paradox. We don't suffer because life is too cruel. We suffer because we expected it to be gentle. Have you ever felt disappointed when someone close didn't understand you? Have you been hurt after giving your all and receiving no recognition? Have you felt hollow when results didn't match your effort? Then you're not alone. Millions are carrying a burden that's invisible, yet heavy as stone, expectation. Stoicism teaches us something profound. It's not events that disturb us, but our thoughts about them. Epictetus' sadness doesn't come from the fact that someone didn't reply to your message, but from your expectation that they should. Anger doesn't come from a failed project, but from the belief that it should have succeeded. Expectation stretches the heart like a tightening rope. It gets tighter every time we try to control what's beyond our reach. People should be kind. Life should be fair. Effort should be rewarded. But the truth is, that's a one-sided contract. One life never agreed to. So what's the solution? Should we abandon all dreams? No. Letting go of expectation doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting where we place our trust. Instead of expecting others to understand you, learn to deeply understand yourself. Instead of needing everything to go as planned, train flexibility to adapt. Instead of demanding outcomes, focus on doing each step well. This is not surrender. It's the path of an inner warrior, someone who doesn't lose themselves just because the world doesn't go their way. A Stoic teacher once said, "When you stop expecting things from others, you begin receiving everything from within. And when that happens, You're no longer dragged by the waves of disappointment. You become the steady rower, calm in an ocean of change. Letting go of expectations is like removing a link from a chain. And with every link that falls away, you step closer to true inner freedom. When silence becomes your greatest strength, have you ever heard this phrase, "Not reacting is a reaction"? There are moments when silence isn't weakness. It's the mark of someone who has reached a new height of stillness. Picture this. Someone attacks you with cruel words, and you say nothing. A deeply unfair situation plays out, and you don't immediately fight back. Someone leaves without a goodbye, and you don't chase after them. Is that giving up? No. It's a choice. A choice made by someone who has built their strength from within. A Stoic is not cold. They simply know when to speak and when to stay silent, because they understand quick reactions feed fleeting emotions, but well-timed silence protects lasting peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Remind yourself often, you are not required to react." Exactly. You don't have to reply to messages at 2 a.m. You don't have to argue to prove you're right. You don't have to respond to every judgment thrown your way. You have the right to preserve your energy. What's the secret power of silence? It forces others to face their own words. It surprises those who expected you to jump on their boat of negativity. And most importantly, it keeps you from wasting energy on what doesn't matter. Not every battle is worth entering. Not every noise deserves your reply. You can stay silent to observe. Stay silent to reflect. Stay silent to hold your mind steady in emotional storms. Silence isn't hiding. It's preparing for a response that's stronger, wiser, and timed just right. So if you're surrounded by chaos, too many opinions, too much blame, too much noise, retreat for a moment. Take a slow breath and be silent like a warrior, recharging, not retreating. In a world full of noise, silence is what sets you apart and makes you powerful. Focus only on what you can control. The way out of anxiety. Have you ever felt exhausted from trying to change someone, from dwelling on something that already happened, from fearing a future that hasn't arrived? If the answer is yes, you're not alone, and you're not wrong. Because the human instinct is to control. We want certainty. We want to hold on. We want to predict everything. But do you know what drains your soul the fastest? Trying to control what's beyond your reach. Stoicism teaches a core principle. Some things are up to us. Others are not. Know the difference. Epictetus. It sounds simple, but it's the key to inner peace. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, can I control other people's thoughts? No. Can I control tomorrow's weather? No. Can I control my own decisions, actions, and emotions? Yes. So why spend all day fixated on the first two and neglect the third, where your real power lies? Imagine your mind as a flashlight in the dark. You can only shine it in one direction. If you shine it on what you can't control, you'll see darkness, fear, and helplessness. But if you turn it inward, toward your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, you'll find clarity, freedom, and strength. Inner power doesn't come from changing the world. It comes from how you walk through a world that doesn't change. Try this. Instead of worrying about what people think, focus on your integrity and behavior. Instead of trying to please everyone, focus on your core values. Instead of living in regret, focus on the lessons you can carry forward. A Stoic isn't heartless. They also feel pain, disappointment, heartbreak, but they choose what deserves control. And because of that, they keep their peace, even when nothing around them is peaceful. Peace doesn't come from mastering the world. It comes from mastering yourself. If you're overwhelmed today, try this exercise. Draw 2 columns. Column 1, things I cannot control. Column 2, things I can. Now, let go of column 1 and pour your energy, your focus, your strength into column 2. You'll be surprised to find the moment you begin to change yourself, the world around you starts to shift. Thank you for walking this path all the way to the end. If these lessons resonated with you, leave a comment, share with someone, or simply nod quietly in your mind. Because when you learn to master yourself, you become someone no one else can control, except you.